Ever wonder what it takes for a nation to conquer Mars on its first try? Picture launching a spacecraft with an orbiter, lander, and rover, all in one mission, and succeeding. That's exactly what China did with its Tianwen mission. Today, we're exploring how that historic achievement kick-started a full Chinese Mars program, including a groundbreaking rover, tantalizing water-related discoveries, and bold plans to return Martian samples by 2031. In this video, we dive deep into the Chinese mission to Mars, Tianwen, and trace the roadmap from China's first orbiter over touchdown to its future sample return plan. We'll uncover why Tianwen was a game-changer, what Zhurong roamed into, the discoveries it made, and how China plans to turbocharge this mission with Tianwen-3 and crewed orbits by 2050. Stick around if you're curious about global space exploration and the growing race to Mars. Let's begin with the mission that started it all. The Tianwen. China launched Tianwen in July 2020, aiming not just for orbit, but also a Mars landing and rover deployment, all at once. The name, loosely translating to questions to heaven, reflects a poetic quest for knowledge. On February 10, 2021, the mission achieved orbit, a historic first step. Then on May 14, Zhurong touched down on Utopia Planitia, making China the second country ever to deploy a rover on Mars and the first to combine orbiter, lander, and rover in its maiden mission. It was a triumph of engineering, demonstrating China's growing capabilities in interplanetary exploration. So how does Tianwen work? Imagine a robotic caravan, an orbiter circling above, relaying data, a lander that safely descends, and a rover that explores the surface. That's Tianwen. Orbiter, equipped with high-res cameras and climate sensors. It continues mapping Mars and relays data. The lander served as a launchpad for Zhurong, handling the tense 7 minutes of terror descent with retro rockets and parachutes. The rover called Zhurong is a solar-powered, 6-wheeled vehicle, packed with radar, camera, meteorological instruments, and even a rock-zapping laser. This fully autonomous setup showcased China's engineering maturity and mission confidence. Now let's meet Zhurong, the star of Tianwen's surface exploration phase. Zhurong deployed on May 22, 2021, beginning with a few dozen meters of cautious movement. Even its first selfies with the lander dropped jaws globally. In just 90 sols planned, Zhurong journeyed nearly 1.9 kilometers and worked over 358 sols, far outlasting expectations. It mapped terrain with ground-penetrating radar and monitored weather, a significant feat showing Chinese Mars tech had matured. Beyond distance traveled, what did Zhurong uncover? In February 2023, data published in Nature revealed rich meteorological insights from Zhurong's first 325 sols, showing daily and seasonal climate cycles on Mars. Then, in March 2025, reports emerged that Zhurong detected evidence suggestive of recent liquid water, hydrated minerals and geological structures implying a wetter Mars than once thought. If validated, that's a monumental leap in understanding Martian habitability. However, after entering hibernation in May 2022 due to winter and solar conjunction, Zhurong never reactivated, likely due to dust-covered solar panels. But its nearly year-long operations generated 940 gigabytes of data, a trove for researchers. So what about the orbiter? Tianwen's orbiter remains active, mapping ice, relaying communications, taking global images including one of Phobos. Its high-resolution imagery is feeding science and geology analysis. Its data enables planning for future missions, like Tianwen-3. Insights into surface composition, radiation, and climate will shape the sample return strategy. And now, on to the next frontier, bringing Mars home. China plans to launch Tianwen-3 in 2028, a 2-launch mission, 1 orbiter returner, and 1 lander ascent vehicle. The lander and possibly a small rover will collect Martian samples, then launch them into orbit for retrieval. If successful, samples could land on Earth by 2031, years ahead of NASA's plans. China is even inviting international scientific partnerships, pledging payload slots on both orbiter and return capsule. This mission will hunt biosignatures, analyze ancient environments, and answer fundamental questions: was there life on Mars? What's next after sample return? China's roadmap, endorsed by top leadership, aims for crewed Mars orbit missions by 2050, using lessons from Tianwen and its upcoming Mars base. While no landing yet, orbiters will test life support, remote navigation, and the deep space infrastructure required for future astronauts. China's Tiangong space station, set up by 2022, provides a testing ground for long-term human spaceflight, another essential step. How does China's Mars program stack up globally? Some experts argue China may deliver Mars samples to Earth years before NASA ESA's effort. That's a bold shift in planetary science leadership. NASA counters with Artemis, Perseverance, and deep space tech, while China is forging ahead with independent capability, international partnerships, and bold timelines. This dual-track system fosters scientific competition and progress. The next decade will tell who leaps further into Mars's mysteries. If you're blown away by China's Mars mission, or curious what's next in interplanetary exploration, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more deep dives. Let us know in the comments, what question about Mars do you want answered? And don't forget to share this with space-loving friends. Thanks for joining EarthSight. Let's journey together to Mars and beyond. See you in the cosmos.